Hey everybody, I wanted to make a very short video just to simplify and explain the inflation that we've had the last few years post-COVID. I feel like a lot of the time the explanation is just convoluted and extra complicated for no reason. It's really very simple. So if you look back pre-COVID in 2019 and for several years before that, the price controls were mostly in check and in balance because the S is for supply, the D is for demand. The supply and demand were pretty much, in harmony most of the time. Whenever people wanted stuff, it was produced at that price, and then the market just kind of managed it and adjusted things when necessary. Well, as we all know, in 2020, the demand went way down because people weren't going out. I mean, they still bought stuff online, but a lot of the things were really hurt demand-wise because people were just, scared and cautious and not going out. Well, the demand, the supply, which is, factories and restaurants and just this gigantic, machine of supply that we have, that functions throughout the entire world and the United States, it can't just shut down overnight. So it took some time to lower it, even though people weren't buying as much. So they tried hard and they worked hard to get the supply brought down so they didn't lose as much money with the demand down, but it took time. So in 2021 to 2023, we had the supply that had come down a good bit, but we also had vaccines and people that were inside doing a bunch of just nothingness at their houses for the most part. And so what happened after a couple years, a year and a half of people just sitting at home, we have demand that basically went through the roof, literally. And so what happened was the supply could not keep up with demand. It wasn't in harmony and balance. And so essentially when demand does outpace supply, you just see prices increasing. Well, you see the plus sign here, that's because this is only half the story. In addition to the supply and demand being out of balance post-COVID, you had money printing, which was what we knew as what? The COVID stimulus checks. So, not only do people want to go out after being stuck at home, they've been given free money from the government to just buy more stuff. And also it dilutes what money's worth. I like to tell my students it's like Kool-Aid. If you drink some Kool-Aid the way it's supposed to be made, then it tastes a certain way. If you keep pouring water in, then it just loses its potency. It's the same thing with money to a certain degree. If you just keep printing more of it, then you just have something else that's just kind of watered down and out of balance, and then you have to use more of it to do the same thing. So first, we've got the situation that led to an insane amount of demand that the supply could not keep up with post-COVID. We had a lot of money getting printed with the government sending out these literally supposedly free, we're paying for it now, right? These free stimulus checks for people to try to stimulate the economy, which it did its job, but there wasn't enough supply in a lot of these cases. So if you add the insane demand with the depressed supply, with the COVID checks that got sent out like round after round after round, even for people who had jobs a lot of the time like me, I still got those checks. If you add that together, then it equals the really high inflation that we saw in the last couple of years. It's come down a good bit, but it's still kind of hanging tight. So anyway, a lot of people throw a lot of unnecessary stuff, and try to, put a lot of blame on the situation that's not necessarily true. Both of the administrations that were present through COVID, this was largely impossible to manage, and both administrations sent out stimulus checks. So it was just kind of a casualty of the times in the way that the system played itself out. But yeah, if you were curious, this is the two main components that led to our massive inflation post-COVID. Hope everybody's having a great day. Catch you later.